Every entrepreneur has one. The moment you decide to start your own business, your story begins. And if you're like most business owners, your plan and your reality can end up being miles apart. Welcome to PTC TV and our series entitled The Journey. Each week, we will be talking to business owners about their business journey. Our hope is that by sharing these stories, others may find understanding, inspiration, and the will to succeed. So let me ask you, what's your story?
Welcome to The Journey, brought to you by Pull the Sheep. I'm your host, Jeff Cecil, and today I'm here with Allen Christie with Life and Legacy Law Center. Allen, welcome to the show.
Hi, nice to be here.
So Allen, you run Life and Legacy Law Center. We're going to learn a little bit about that and why you started it and things of that nature. But one of the things I'd love to know is, tell us a little bit about who you are as a person, your background a little bit, just so we get to know you.
So I'm a lawyer, so obviously. And I grew up not knowing that I wanted to do this kind of work. So in my early years, I just got out of high school and I went straight to work, started a family, moved to this community, tried to put in roots. And then a lot of people of my age bracket, they went through the 9/11 attacks. And that really had me go through a catharsis or a moment in my life when I realized, hey, what are you doing? I really wanted to be of service to people in the community. So I was around 30 years old at that time. Decided to go to school to become an attorney. I knew it would take a long time, but I could think of no better way to help people and be of service. And while I was going to college in my 30s, I joined the local volunteer fire department here in this community, the #1 fire department over off of Douglas Bend, so I could start this life of service.
I love it.
And I want to help families. And the kind of work that I do really puts families in a position where their conflict is lower. I keep them out of court. I help families with generational wealth passing from one generation to the next without the need to involve the court process, or if there is an incapacity situation. I help families where they don't have to go to the court process, so all of the correct tools are in place for families where, even though the situation is bad, their loved ones have made those decisions prior, that the way that they want things handled, so the family member doesn't have to make those hard decisions. They just have to implement them.
That's great. So you're basically talking about estate planning.
Yes.
Is what you're doing, which is something that we all should think about. I love that aspect of things. It's something that we don't all think about because we all think we're going to live forever.
What I do is it's easy to procrastinate or put off, kick the can down the road. But if you or anybody in your situation or near you has been involved with someone who has gone through either one end, hey, my family did good planning and it was so easy for me, or hey, they didn't do anything and it was a nightmare and I don't want that for my family.
Right.
Either you or someone you know in your circle, you probably have knowledge of that happening one way or the other. So doing this type of planning really does impact families in meaningful ways, but it's so easy to put it off because, like you said, hey, I'm going to live forever since it didn't happen to me. But it happens to people every day.
That's great.
And it happened in my own family. I had a family member who had property out in California. My mother, who was supposed to get part of this property when he died, he did not have the correct planning in place. He actually paid an attorney to do planning, but it just didn't get done correctly. The back end work didn't get done.
Well, that's not good.
And so my mom was 70 at this time, and she was struggling financially, so we were helping her out.
Sure.
And she could have used this money, but we got contacted by this service that finds lost heirs.
Okay.
They troll through probate records or Department of Unclaimed Property, and then they connect it with the people who's supposed to get it. And we were contacted And we thought, well,
Is this for real, first of all?
yeah, is this a scam? But then we realized it wasn't, but they wanted a 25% fee.
Oh, wow.
So 25% of whatever she get off the top. Well, not only that, if you've ever dealt with the probate system, you know that you have to hire a lawyer, you have to go through the courts, it takes time. Well, we had to hire a lawyer in the other state where this property was. So it was remotely done, it was expensive, and it took a year or so to get it handled. And all of that money that she could have had just disappeared. And so now we're 10 years later, and the money she got it's about to run out.
Oh, boy.
And that really could have helped her in the long term.
Sure.
Last the rest of her life. So in retrospect, we're looking back, we wished it hadn't happened that way, but I was inspired when that happened. I was practicing law at that point, but I was more of what you call a door lawyer. Anything that comes through the door, we would take it and help people out.
All right.
But it was reactionary law. I was helping people that already had problems. And then I saw this happen in my own family, and I realized how important it is to have good planning in place for the people that you love and care about. Because it's not really about the planner. It's not about me or you or the one that's doing the planning. It's about the people you love and care about.
That's right.
Do you want them to have to deal with this kind of issue, or do you want to make it easy for them?
I love that. I love your passion about this, and your reasoning for wanting to do it is because it happened to you guys, happened to your mom, and you said to yourself, I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Right.
We need to be able to solve this ahead of time.
Yeah, my clients, when I'm looking at them and I think about what happened in my own family, I was doing law practice as the typical estate planning person, hand them a set of documents, they may or may not work. Right. It was strictly transactional. Now, because this is all that I do, I get to know you. I get to know what's important to you, what are your outcome objectives, your family dynamics, and then we custom build that plan for you, because I really care about my clients and I want to make sure that they don't go through what we went through.
Yeah, and I love that. It's interesting. It's like me with coaching. It's a personal thing when I'm coaching people. Same with you, with your business. It's a personal thing, right? So they open up their vault to you and saying, okay, make sure this is all taken care of down the road, and multiple ways, right? Whether it's I pass or I'm incapacitated, whatever the situation is, you're making sure that the family is protected based on me as the client's wishes.
Yes, and there is so much that goes into it, and the learning process is never ending. I spend hours a week continuing my education to stay up on current trends, to have the most comprehensive, cutting-edge tools in my toolbox. Because when you tell me that you want something, I need to make sure that what I give you is what you actually want, that it's compliant with the law, that it's going to work the way that you want it to, and have the result that you want. So it's so important. That's why I'm so passionate, and I care so much about these people that I do business with and help, that I want to make sure that all of the knowledge and all of the input and all of the drafting of the documents and everything that we do is right there, and it's going to be in the most comprehensive and cutting edge new way possible.
Oh, that's great. So tell me a little bit about the process. I'd like to, so that people that are watching this, they can understand what to expect, right? So someone comes in and they go, look, I want to, set up my estate planning. What happens after that?
Well, so what we do is we do a 3-meeting model.
Okay.
The first meeting that we do is called a family wealth planning session, and during that meeting, I learn about you, your family dynamics, your outcome objectives, what you want to get out of the planning, because everybody's different. Everybody has a different scenario and the way that they want their affairs handled. So we determine that, and then we go on and design your plan that day. And I'm always about next steps. I want everybody to know it's the transparency, what's happening next. I don't want you to come in, give me your information, and then I'll get back with you at some point. And there are a lot of attorneys out there that do it that way.
Right.
Before you leave my office that day, you're going to have your next appointment. You're going to know when you're coming back.
Okay, great.
So we have systems in place, and it's usually about a month later. Okay. And so we're going to have you come back in a month, and that's going to be the signing meeting. And at the signing meeting, that's when your plan is ready to go, in force, fully effective. So we have the signing meeting, and then we have a third meeting.
Okay.
It's about a month later, and that's called the delivery meeting. And during the delivery meeting, we also give you your final documents in the container it comes in. We also make digital copies, and we store them in the cloud, give you a thumb drive. But something that we do that we feel is so very, very important is you are so much more than just your money. You're more than numbers on a spreadsheet. So what we do is we have what's called a legacy interview.
Okay.
And what we do with that is we want you to talk to those that you love.
Okay.
And those that you care about. What are your stories? What are your values?
Wow.
What knowledge do you want to pass on to the next generation that would be lost?
Whoa.
That real family intellectual value.
Yeah.
And we record this interview and we put it with your planning materials so your family can have it. I'm sure that you've heard about, I had a voicemail from Mom and it accidentally got erased, and how devastated people are.
Yeah.
I'll never hear her voice again.
Right.
And that happened to me with a friend of mine whose name was Bob. I lost him. He was very important to me. And all I do is I can hear him up the now. So, and that's another aspect of things that have happened to me that I've brought into my practice, where I can help families capture that real value of the family, the stories, the values, the things that are important to them, or things they want to tell their children. And they may have problems talking face to face, but maybe when they're not here, they can say it. And it's actually my favorite part of the whole process, because these people are allowing me to be in this intimate conversation that they're having with their loved ones.
I love that. You know, it's funny you should say that. I got a really good friend, and he's already mapped out, and you know, he's not hopefully dying soon, but he said, look, when I die and we go to the funeral home, or we go to the memorial service, I want little clips that I've pre-recorded that I could just have come on while people are walking around. You know, it'd be like, hey, Bob, remember the time when we went to the dunes or to the beach, and this happened and that happened, just as memory shots all over. And I thought, that's interesting. But I love what you're doing. That's amazing.
And as a final part of the process is we put you in a periodical review.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't realize that when they do this kind of planning, if you have one change in your life, your plan's out of date.
Oh, wow.
Or if there's a law change that you're unaware of, where you might need to come in and do some tax planning or something like that. Because I spend all of this time being continuously educated on the estate of the federal government and the state level, what's going on with the estate planning topics. If something happens, say Congress does away with the death transfer tax exemption, and you wouldn't know about that, but I would, and it could cost your family 30-40% of their inheritance unless you do some kind of planning. So when we reach out to you in whatever period we predetermine, depending on your planning package, we're going to contact you and say, hey, what's going on in your life? Have you had any more kids? You bought another house? You know, what's going on with you? Or are your powers stale? When I say powers, I mean your financial power of attorney, your healthcare directives. Institutions don't like to deal with old documents. So periodically, the ones you have are perfectly fine, but you want these things to work quickly when you have them. So you might need to come back in and just have us give you a fresh set.
That's great.
So these reviews are critical for an ongoing relationship, because I don't want to be the guy that did your plan 4 or 5 years ago and you don't even remember my name.
Right.
What I want to be is I want to be your trusted family advisor, someone you can turn to, or your loved ones can turn to when something happens to you, and then they can come in and I can help.
I love that. I love that. So what age should someone start looking at this?
18.
18.
Anybody that's over the age of 18 and walking around out there should at least have a basic set of documents, not necessarily because you have a lot of stuff, but think about the incapacity problems.
Yeah.
If you're laid up in the hospital and you don't have the correct documents in place, think about the Terry Schiavo case. And if you haven't heard of it, it was the girl in Florida. She was in her 20s, got hurt real bad. Her husband assumed, because I'm your husband, I'm going to be able to make your healthcare decisions. And he wanted to pull the feeding tube. Well, her parents came in and said no. So it caused severe conflict in the family, ripped the family apart, made it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. It took about 5 years for that case to get solved. In the meantime, Terry's on the tube.
Yeah.
Now the husband won out in the end, but still, look what happened to that family. So when you ask me who, 18 years or older, and most people don't realize about 7 out of 10 people walking around out there have no planning in place at all.
I bet.
But trust me, the state has a plan for you. I'd love to educate anybody looking at this video. I'd love to educate you about what the state has in plan for you, because you're not going to like it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting. So how long have you been doing estate planning in a sense?
Well, I got my license back in 2009.
Okay.
And I was doing estate planning from the beginning.
Okay.
But not like focused. But what happened to my mother focused me in.
Okay, cool.
And that's when I decided to really get good at this and really help families. And that's when I started the Life and Legacy Law Center, because it's all I want to do. It's very rewarding work.
That's great. So what do you think has been one of your biggest challenges by doing this?
Procrastination of people. Everybody that I talk to, they understand the need for this kind of planning, but I'll get to it later, or I've got other stuff going on in my life, and that is the biggest problem, the biggest challenge I run into is I get so frustrated because I see this family and I see that they need what I have, and just the uncomfortableness of dealing with the situation, or they feel like it's something they can do later. It's just so frustrating because I so want to help them. I so want to have the planning in place for the family. If something happens, then they won't have to deal with what I've seen can happen without a plan.
I love it. Love it. So you're moving forward, you're helping families. Is there a plan, like where do you want to be in a year? Where do you want to be in 3 years? What are your thoughts? I mean, any thoughts on, to grow what you're doing, get your message out there, I guess? Because I think your message is different than others that I've heard, right?
Well, I'd like to think that we do things differently than the traditional
Sounds like it.
estate planning practice. You're not just going to be a transaction to us. You're going to be somebody that we really care about, somebody that we want to make sure that your plan works when it's supposed to. What I'd like to do is to help 100 families this year.
Oh, awesome.
So
very cool. Love it.
And next year, maybe 200 families. And then I would like to create economy in our area. I'd like to offer jobs to people that can come in and help me help families, people that are passionate about what I do. So eventually I would like to be to the point where I would like to maybe help people as severely discounted or even free, because I love doing this so much that I would like to be a place in my life where I could do this for people for nothing.
Okay.
But that's not the reality of life in my situation.
Sure.
But
that's okay. I mean, you
that would be a grand vision,
I love it. We all have to have that. I mean, to me, I'm a firm believer that, we have to have a plan of where we want to go. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a target, as they say, you can shoot an arrow and hit the target every time if you don't have a plan. Right. So you just go, oh, that worked. That was good enough, or that didn't work. So, no, that's great. So, Allen, I want to just thank you so much for being on the show today. This is amazing. I love your passion. I love what you're doing. And I'm excited for where you're headed for this. I think that helping people to change their lives and to protect their lives and protect their future and their future generations is an amazing story in itself. And so thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So for all those that are watching, we thank you so much, as always, for being part of this. We're always excited when we get to interview people like Allen. If you'd like to be on the show, please reach out, Jeff@pullthechute.net. But in the meantime, we hope you enjoyed today's show. And until we talk again, stay safe and be healthy.